"You're trespassing on my pool deck." Her voice sliced through the humid Georgia air like a blade dipped in venom. I looked up from my surveyor's equipment to find her towering above me, all 5'6" of pure suburban fury in stilettos that could puncture steel. "This is private property. You have 30 seconds before I call the police and have you arrested for criminal trespassing." "Ma'am, I'm standing on my property." I held up the county deed, fingers steady despite my racing pulse. "According to this survey from..." "I don't give a damn what your fake paperwork says." She snatched at the document, manicured nails flashing red in the morning sun. "I've lived here for 14 years. That pool deck is part of my landscaping, approved by the architectural committee that I chair. You think you can waltz into Magnolia Springs with your broke-ass pickup truck and tell me where my property ends?" My surveyor, Tom, stepped between us, his yellow vest bright against the morning sun. "Miss, the property markers don't lie. This gentleman's lot extends 42 feet past where you think. Get off my land before I make your business license disappear." Her smile was all teeth. No warmth, the kind of expression a predator makes before striking. "Ask around about what happens to contractors who cross Vanessa Sterling. The Henderson's pool guy? Gone. That landscaping company the Mitchells hired? Bankrupt within 6 months. Sheriff Patterson's cruiser was already pulling up 10-minute response time that told me everything." The deputy chief emerged, his face already arranged in sympathetic concern for her. "Vanessa, what's the problem here?" "First names." "Of course. Sheriff. Thank God. This man is destroying my property based on fraudulent survey documents. I'm honestly frightened." "Son, I think it's best if you pack up for today," Patterson said, barely glancing at my legal documents. "Let the lawyers sort this out." That's when I noticed it, the way her eyes kept darting to the survey stakes Tom had driven into her prize azalea garden, the way her hands trembled slightly, the barely perceptible crack in her voice. That wasn't just anger, that was fear. Someone who'd been illegally occupying land for 14 years would be terrified of an accurate survey, and terrified people make mistakes. I'm Jack Harrison, 34 years old, combat engineer who spent 6 years in the Army. My father died 6 months ago, massive cerebral aneurysm. Thomas Harrison, 68, retired postal worker who left me $200,000 with one instruction: build something that lasts. I used it to buy this quarter-acre lot in Magnolia Springs for $185,000, suspiciously cheap for lakefront property where homes started at $800,000. The listing agent had mentioned complications with property boundaries. Now I understood why. As I drove away, my phone buzzed. HOA violation notice. $500 fine for unauthorized survey activity, doubling every week until compliance. The war had officially begun. But Vanessa Sterling had just made the fatal mistake of thinking I was someone who could be intimidated into surrender. She had no idea that combat engineers are trained to find the one critical weakness and apply precisely calculated force at exactly the right moment, time to start the demolition sequence. The violation letter arrived via certified mail on HOA letterhead so pretentious it could have been mistaken for a Supreme Court summons. 3 pages threatening foreclosure for persistent covenant violations. Signed, Vanessa Sterling, HOA President and Architectural Review Committee Chair. I called my real estate attorney, Patricia Brennan. Her groan told me everything. "Jack, HOA disputes are expensive nightmares. If Sterling controls the board, she can bury you in legal fees until you're forced to sell. We're looking at 18 months minimum, $50,000 in costs. $50,000 to prove ownership of land I'd already bought legally. But let me dig into Sterling's background first." Patricia continued. "HOA presidents who abuse authority usually leave evidence. That week revealed exactly who Vanessa Sterling was beneath the designer clothes. Vanessa Ashford Sterling, 39, married to Jonathan Sterling, senior partner at the law firm representing the HOA. She'd inherited her mansion from her father, Richard Ashford, the developer who'd built Magnolia Springs. She'd been HOA president for 14 years. The community covenants had been amended 17 times under her leadership, every amendment increasing her power while reducing homeowner rights. Patricia's research uncovered a disturbing pattern. 12 families had sold and left since 2018, all after disputes with the Architectural Committee. The same playbook every time: violation notices, escalating fines, legal threats, forced sales. One name kept appearing: Harold Mitchell, the previous owner of my property. Jack. This guy fought Sterling for 6 years, spent $80,000 in legal fees before dying of a heart attack in 2021. You need to talk to his daughter. I found Catherine Mitchell Roberts through social media. She agreed to meet immediately, arriving with the exhausted anger of someone who'd fought Vanessa Sterling and lost everything. My dad bought that lot in 1995 for his retirement, Catherine explained. He was a civil engineer, loved the lake. But Vanessa decided his plans weren't compatible with community aesthetics. She blocked every permit, filed bogus violations. The stress triggered his heart attack in 2019. He died in 2021 without ever building on that land. She pushed a thick folder across the table. Dad documented everything. Emails showing Vanessa's threats. Proof she falsified violations. Bank records showing suspicious payments to board members before votes. Her eyes met mine. He wanted this to mean something. Maybe you can finish what he started. I spent 3 days studying Harold Mitchell's evidence. What I found was a roadmap to Vanessa Sterling's criminal empire. The Architectural Committee meetings weren't real. Vanessa made decisions alone, then backdated approval documents with forged signatures. Email chains proved board members never attended meetings where their signatures appeared. The violation fines were being funneled to Sterling and Associates through creative accounting. Vanessa was using HOA dues to fund her husband's law firm. But the nuclear bomb was the property fraud. My quarter-acre lot was supposed to be 68 acres, according to the 1,987 development plat. Someone had quietly amended the survey records in 2010, right after Vanessa became HOA president, reducing my property by 42 feet to add that land to her lot. She hadn't just been occupying my land. She'd literally stolen it through fraudulent documents. Patricia's voice cracked with excitement when I showed her. Jack, this is recordable instrument fraud. Filing false documents with a government agency. We're talking felony territory. What do? We file a quiet title action to force judicial determination of boundaries. We submit criminal complaints about the fraud. And we expose the financial corruption to every homeowner in Magnolia Springs. The taste of incoming victory was intoxicating. Vanessa had built her empire on fraud, maintained it through intimidation. She thought she was untouchable. She was about to discover her greatest mistake was targeting someone with nothing left to lose and everything to prove in his father's memory. But what I didn't know yet was how far Vanessa would go when cornered and how much I'd have to sacrifice before this war ended. The lawsuit hit Gwinnett County Courthouse on June 3, 2024, like a legal grenade. We weren't just claiming boundary disputes, we were accusing Vanessa of systematic fraud, document forgery, and criminal conspiracy. Her response was nuclear. Within 48 hours, 5 new violation notices. My truck parked improperly, mailbox didn't meet updated standards, lawn had excessive clover growth, total fines, $4,500. My construction permits across 3 counties suddenly faced mysterious delays. Clients received anonymous complaints about my license status. Someone reported my truck to the IRS, triggering an audit. But Vanessa's biggest mistake was targeting my family. She filed a complaint with Adult Protective Services claiming I was financially exploiting my elderly mother, coercing her into giving me Dad's life insurance money. My mother, Margaret Harrison, 64, retired nurse, took one look at the complaint and became my most powerful ally. That woman thinks she can use government agencies to attack my son? Mom's voice carried the steel that had terrified me as a teenager. Give me everything you have on her. I'm calling my friends at the county. Within a week, Mom connected me with DA investigators very interested in HOA fraud, but the breaking point came when Vanessa targeted my crew. Bobby Martinez, Mike Thompson, Chris Walker, skilled tradesmen, family men, my friends. Vanessa filed anonymous complaints claiming they operated without credentials, triggering investigations that consumed hundreds of hours proving their licenses were valid. Bobby's wife Lisa posted Vanessa's harassment on social media with documentation. The post went viral locally within hours. Channel 5's investigative reporter Amanda Caldwell called 3 days later. "Mr. Harrison, your case might unravel something much bigger. Are you willing to talk?" The investigative piece aired July 8, 2024, How One President Turned a Gated Community into Her Personal Kingdom. 15 minutes of devastating journalism. The community exploded. A recall petition started circulating. Within 72 hours, signatures from 2/3 of residents. But as the pressure mounted, something shifted in Vanessa's behavior. The calculated control started cracking. Her violations became more aggressive, more desperate. She was escalating towards something catastrophic, and I could feel it coming like a storm building on the horizon. I just didn't know it would almost destroy everything. Then came the discovery that changed everything. Thomas Henderson, retired accountant and board member, reached out to Patricia directly. "Miss Brennan, I've been reviewing the HOA financials after that news report. Sterling has been embezzling on a scale I didn't think possible. Phantom vendor schemes, fake maintenance contracts, consulting fees to shell companies. I've identified over $400,000 in theft from Magnolia Springs alone." Patricia's eyes went wide. "Can you document this?" "Already done. But there's more. I called other HOAs where Vanessa's been consulting. Same pattern everywhere. She's teaching these presidents her fraud techniques. It's not just Magnolia Springs. She's exported this across 3 counties. This was bigger than we'd imagined. Vanessa had created an entire criminal network. The emergency HOA meeting was scheduled for July 22, 2024. By 6:30 p.m., the parking lot overflowed. Families who'd suffered in silence. Former residents driving from across Georgia. Channel 5's news van sat prominently. At exactly 7 p.m., Vanessa Sterling arrived. She walked through the crowd like royalty, and I saw the complete picture of calculated perfection that had intimidated opponents for 14 years. That crimson-red blazer draped casually over her shoulders, expensive fabric catching the chandelier light. Beneath it, a black silk blouse with calculated V-neck, matching pencil skirt with subtle slit, red heels polished to mirror shine clicking against hardwood. Auburn hair falling in perfect waves past her shoulders, lips matching her blazer, glossy red catching light as she smiled with serpentine warmth. She looked absolutely perfect. Every detail calculated to project power, success, unshakable confidence. That image was about to shatter. "Good evening, everyone." Her voice carried without amplification. "I'm pleased to see such robust community participation." She conducted standard business like nothing was wrong. Finally, we reached new business. I stood up. The room went silent. "Madam President, I'd like to address the property fraud and systematic harassment campaign." Her smile never wavered, but something cold flashed in those green eyes. "Mr. Harrison, property disputes are civil matters. I'm talking about forged survey documents you used to steal 42 feet of my property. 14 years of corruption that's destroyed families and stolen hundreds of thousands from this community." Patricia's laptop connected. Images flooded the screen, side-by-side comparisons of the original 1987 plat versus the amended 2010 version that transferred my land to Vanessa's lot. "That is absolutely ridiculous," Vanessa started. "Is it ridiculous that the amended survey has your signature approving changes that benefited your personal property?" Patricia's voice cut like a scalpel. "That you've filed $47,000 in bogus violations while your own property has 14 unpermitted modifications?" More projections. Her pool deck extension, unpermitted gazebo, decorative fence, outdoor kitchen, all without approval despite her chairing the committee. I watched her mask crack in real time. The confident smile twisted, hands gripped the table edge, knuckles white. That blazer looked less like authority now, more like failing armor. She stood abruptly, chair scraping. "This is a coordinated attack by someone who doesn't belong in this community. You mean the 12 families you drove out?" Lisa Martinez stood up. "My family received baseless complaints because we worked for someone you're targeting." Other hands went up. Stories poured out. "The pattern undeniable." "I motion for immediate vote of no confidence," Henderson called, "based on clear evidence of fraud and abuse." Second, multiple voices. "That motion is out of order," Vanessa tried. "According to bylaws you wrote, any motion supported by a majority must be voted immediately." Patricia said, "You made this rule. Fitting, it's removing you." The vote, 64 inches favor, 3 opposed. Vanessa Sterling's 14-year reign ended in 30 seconds. For a long moment, she stood in silence, face cycling through emotions. Rage. Disbelief? Fear? Calculation? "You haven't won?" she said quietly. "My lawyers will destroy all of you." Actually, Patricia held up documents. The district attorney has opened criminal investigations. The state bar is reviewing your husband's conduct. And the IRS is interested in $200,000 in unreported consulting fees. Vanessa's face went white. The mask dropped completely. Those red heels clicked away for the last time as president. But I knew this wasn't over. Cornered predators are at their most dangerous, and I was about to learn exactly how far Vanessa Sterling would go when she had nothing left to lose. Vanessa's response was exactly what you'd expect from someone whose identity was built on control. Total warfare. Within a week, $5, million defamation lawsuit, state licensing audits, environmental complaints. Even Patricia got bar complaints for ethics violations. But her most desperate move came at 11 p.m. on August 4th. My security system triggered. Construction equipment rolling onto Vanessa's property. In the harsh LED glare, figures moved around the pool deck extending onto my land. Then the excavator's bucket struck concrete. She was destroying the evidence. Literally demolishing the physical proof of her property encroachment before the court-ordered survey could document it. I called 911, then started recording. When Gwinnett County police arrived, they found Vanessa in silk pajamas with that crimson blazer thrown over them like armor, screaming about her property rights. "Ma'am, you're destroying evidence in an active investigation," Patricia said. "That's felony obstruction of justice." The excavator operator shut down immediately. Vanessa's face cycled through rage, fear, despair. DA Freeman announced comprehensive investigations on August 10th. 17 HOA communities, over $2 million in estimated theft. Federal RICO charges being considered. But during her deposition, Vanessa made her final critical mistake. Patricia's questioning was surgical. "Did you forge board members' signatures on approval documents?" Vanessa waved off her attorney. "I had verbal approval. The signatures were just administrative formalities." Her attorney grabbed her arm. "Vanessa, stop talking. Too late." She just admitted to forging official documents on recorded deposition. Then came the night that nearly destroyed everything I'd built. September 2nd, 2024, 2:47 a.m. I woke to the smell of gasoline and smoke. The orange glow through my window wasn't sunrise, it was my construction trailer burning. The trailer held everything: $40,000 in tools, project files for 6 jobs, financial records, my father's original documentation, Harold Mitchell's evidence files, everything that proved my case, everything needed to keep working, everything my father had meant to last, all turning to ash. I grabbed the fire extinguisher and ran outside barefoot. The heat hit like a furnace door, physical wall pushing me back. The extinguisher was pathetically inadequate against flames engulfing the entire trailer. I could only stand there and watch my father's legacy burn. The trailer had been purchased with his insurance money, filled with tools he'd helped me select. used for the business we'd planned together during his last year. This wasn't property crime. This was personal violation cutting deeper than any financial loss. Neighbors called 911. Fire department arrived within 12 minutes too late to save anything. The trailer was total loss. For the first time since Dad died, I felt the weight of possibly failing him. What if I couldn't finish this? What if Vanessa's wealth and connections and willingness to commit arson meant she'd win, after all? Fire marshal investigation. Clear arson. Gasoline accelerated. Multiple ignition points. Forced entry. Security cameras captured a figure in dark clothing, 2:30 a.m., moving with purposeful efficiency. Mr. Harrison, given your dispute with Sterling, will investigate her as a suspect, Detective Williams said, but proving she ordered this will be challenging. She destroyed everything, I said, words tasting like ash. Everything physical, Patricia corrected, arriving with her laptop. But you backed up digital copies to my firm's servers, and Catherine has duplicate originals in a safety deposit box. The arson hurt your business, but it didn't destroy your legal case. Still, the emotional impact was devastating. This was the moment I almost quit. Almost took whatever settlement Vanessa would offer just to end the nightmare. Then I thought about Harold Mitchell, dying without justice, about my father's note, build something that lasts, about Catherine trusting me with her father's evidence, about the 12 families Vanessa had driven away, about every homeowner suffering under HOA tyrants who thought they were untouchable. This wasn't just about property anymore. This was about proving that ordinary people could fight back against corruption and win. Detective Williams discovered gasoline purchases on Jonathan Sterling's credit card. Industrial station 12 miles away. September 1st, 10:47 p.m., less than 4 hours before my trailer burned. Cell tower data placed Jonathan's phone within 2 miles of my property during the exact window of the arson. Confronted with evidence, Jonathan cracked. He confessed. Vanessa had spiraled into paranoia after losing the presidency. She'd convinced him that destroying my business would force me to abandon everything. He'd purchased the gasoline and hired someone to torch the trailer. The arson confession was the final piece prosecutors needed. Jonathan accepted a plea deal, testify against Vanessa in exchange for reduced charges. 10 years probation, restitution, permanent disbarment. The attorney who'd facilitated his wife's corruption was now the star witness destroying her freedom. D.A. Freeman filed comprehensive charges in October: arson conspiracy, property fraud, document forgery, embezzlement, obstruction of justice. Combined potential sentences exceeding 15 years. The civil case resolved in November with judicial poetry. Vanessa must remove all structures from my property within 30 days, pay $125,000 in damages for 14 years of illegal occupation, cover my legal fees of $87,000. The $212,000 plus judgment bankrupted them. Their mansion went into foreclosure. The auction in January 2025 was bitter satisfaction. The house sold for $1.2 million, nearly $1 million less than peak value, to a young family with 3 kids who'd never heard of Vanessa Sterling. Perfect symbolism. Her fortress sold to exactly the kind of family she'd terrorized for 14 years. But the sweetest justice came from Catherine's proposal in December. Jack, what if we turned your property into something honoring my father's memory? A community workshop and legal advocacy center for homeowners fighting corrupt boards. Make sure this never happens to another family. The Mitchell Harrison Center for Property Rights opened March 2025. Funded by settlement money, donations from Vanessa's victims, and a Georgia Attorney General grant. We offer free legal consultations, document forensics to detect fraud, educational programs teaching property rights, 3 volunteer attorneys providing representation, and a workshop where Bobby, Mike, and Chris teach construction skills while helping families make repairs that HOAs block through bogus violations. The center operates from a beautiful building on my property, designed and built by my crew, honoring both Harold Mitchell's engineering precision and my father's belief in building things that last. Vanessa Sterling accepted a plea deal in May 2025. 5 years federal prison, 3 years supervised probation, permanent ban from any HOA leadership nationwide, $2.3 million restitution to victims across 17 communities. I attended her sentencing on a warm May morning, sitting beside Lisa Martinez, Catherine Mitchell Roberts, Thomas Henderson, Patricia Brennan, and other families she'd destroyed. Watching Vanessa stand before Judge Morrison was watching the complete destruction of carefully constructed image. No crimson blazer, no designer heels or glossy lips. Just plain gray dress, hair pulled back, minimal makeup revealing stress lines. The broken expression of someone whose kingdom had burned to ashes. Judge Morrison's words captured everything. Mrs. Sterling, no. You weaponized trust to enrich yourself while terrorizing families. You destroyed faith in community governance. This sentence serves as notice to others who might abuse HOA positions. You will be caught, prosecuted, and face full consequences. 5 years wasn't enough for the families destroyed. The businesses ruined, or Harold Mitchell who died fighting her tyranny. But it was something. Accountability. Validation for everyone told they were crazy, that they were the problem. The Mitchell Harrison Center has helped 47 families in its first year, 13 board presidents removed, 7 criminal prosecutions initiated, 2 new state laws passed strengthening homeowner protections legislation carrying Harold Mitchell's name and my father's legacy. Sitting on my property now, watching neighborhood kids use the workshop while parents attend legal rights seminars, I finally understand what Dad meant about building things that last. Vanessa Sterling built an empire of fear that collapsed when someone refused to be intimidated. The Mitchell Harrison Center is building something different. A community where property rights are protected, corruption is challenged, and HOA tyrants learn that kingdoms built on fraud eventually fall. The lake view from my dock, unobstructed by illegal structures, now tastes like victory mixed with responsibility. Every workshop honors Harold Mitchell and Thomas Harrison, men who believed hard work and integrity matter more than wealth and connections. Sometimes the good guys win, especially when the bad guys are arrogant enough to document their own crimes and foolish enough to target someone with nothing left to lose. Drop your most insane HOA story in the comments. Hit subscribe because next month's investigation involves a corrupt mayor trying to steal a disabled veteran's accessible home through eminent domain fraud, and the FBI sting ending will absolutely wreck you. This is Jack Harrison, combat engineer, son of Thomas Harrison, friend of Harold Mitchell, reminding you that empires built on fraud always fall. You just have to find the structural weakness and apply precisely calculated force at exactly the right moment. Property rights matter, corruption loses. And sometimes, justice tastes even sweeter than revenge.